Thank you so much, Kevin. As we begin to wind down this manifest, we have heard and talked so much about momentum. We know that one of the things that is a great characteristic of major momentum is when you have duplication or even massive duplication happening on your team. Well, next I do 3 short interviews with people that I know you absolutely love. And I realized that collectively, the 4 of us have about 100 years of experience in our industry, no kidding, of working with, observing, and cheering on some of the top leaders in our entire space. And in those cases, they had momentum and certainly duplication. So watch what these 3 great mentors of mine have to share about duplication. I am here with the Sona Vanderhoop. Sona, thank you for joining us for a couple minutes here as we talk about this concept of duplication. You've been around Mannatech for quite some time. And what I mean by that is you have worked with so many of the great leaders that have built great businesses and have just a great entrepreneurial lifestyle. And so much of our industry is based around this concept of duplicating, teaching our teams, doing with our teams, teaching them to do. It's this duplication. I believe that being the senior director of North America in sales, you probably have a unique perspective. So can you share with us a couple things that you have seen and that you feel really lead to duplication, or things that you've seen people duplicate that have helped them grow great businesses?
Well, thanks, Tim. And I'm excited to be here and share some of my perspective on this. So one of the things that I'm going to start with is the commitment that people have to have for themselves. In this business, we talk about the importance of personal development and leadership development. And they are 2 different things. Personal development is taking the time to work on you to be the best version of you. So what that means is as you learn and grow, your ability to get creative, your ability to withstand disappointments, your ability to be a great champion, a humble champion, and yet celebrate it, the ability to step into your own power is huge. The leadership development then is the ability to carry it forward to others. So that's where you really hone your communication skills. That's where you have the ability to share or cast a vision that other people see. And that's really important because remember, people want boundaries and leadership and direction. They look for it in their lives. And I always say this to people, there's no such thing as successful management mode. Yeah. So it's the willingness to stay in the work, do the work and stay in the work. And so what is their DMO, their daily mode of operation will dictate how their team shows up. I use this expression all the time. The fish always smells from the head down. So if your team isn't doing the things that it needs to do, take a look at yourself. Duplication is they will do 50% of what they see and 100% of what they don't. So telling them to do something will not motivate people to do it. But watching and mirroring and observing, they will do it much more by rote. So it's that daily discipline. It's the getting them on the 3-way calls. Do the work with them. Never ask them to do what you're not willing to do yourself. So how many people do you contact a day? What does your follow-up look like? How are you prospecting and sharing that with your team so that they fall into a regular pattern? And the important thing is to get them going right out of the chute, right? So I used to coach tennis, and I always used to say this to people: give me someone who's never held a racket so we can teach them how to hold it right. When you get somebody who's been hacking around for a while, then you've got to reteach them, which is so much harder. So part of the key for me to duplication is get them early. Show them a DMO or a daily mode of operation to set them up to win. And don't tell them demonstrate, right? Lead from the front. Part of that is investing in you, yourself, and let them see that. It's like if you want to tell your children that they have value, demonstrate it by taking time to value yourself, right? That's how we learn and we grow. That's how we build teams. So I have lots more goodies, but I think from where my perspective is and the area that I've been spending a lot of time with them, those would probably be my key points, Tim.
Sona, I love it. Most people, when they think of duplication in our space, it's just, I teach you to teach you to teach you, or I talk to a person and teach you how to do it. This is a much bigger concept of personal responsibility and leadership. And so I think that's fantastic and wonderful content. And I know it's going to help some people grow even faster. Thank you, Sona Vanderhoop.
I appreciate it. Nothing like accountability to make us show up in life, right?
That is right. Absolutely.
Always. So
Absolutely.
thanks. I'm excited to see what our field is going to go out and do coming in the last quarter of 2021.
Well, it's going to include duplication.
You betcha.
Thank you, Sona Vanderhoop.
Bye for now.
Patty Anthe, my good friend. Everyone knows you, of course, as the Vice President of the Customer Experience here at MannaTech, but I've seen you have such a huge impact on recognition, incentives, and really anything that the field progresses through and gets to achieve. Most people don't know that you've actually been around our industry and our space for even longer than we've been blessed to have you here at MannaTech, and you've seen so many teams and leaders all over the world build great businesses. And so part of our theme this year for MannaFest, Patty, as you know, of course, is duplication, and then how duplication can lead to massive duplication, which can turn into momentum. And we want that for everyone. So when you think about your great career and all the leaders that you've worked with and teams that you've seen grow and build these amazing businesses, what type of things stand out to you that leaders do or duplicate that have led to these great, great success stories?
I think, Tim, I would start out by saying duplication, it kind of comes to fruition when you get the reward, right? So in a lot of cases, and especially at MannaTech, we provide people goals to get to great incentives, right? So places like Hawaii, Cancun, Alaska, the Caribbean, we've been out to all sorts of places since I've been at the company. And when you see a leader bring their team members to that event, especially new people coming on board, they get excited about going to an event. They get excited about going to these destinations that perhaps they never would be able to go. But those leaders coach them and share the pathway directly to get to those incentives. And so you can see the duplication effort there. So that leader is sharing, how do you get to the incentive? How do you make this work? And then you see the secondary, the person that actually earns the trip also duplicate with somebody that they've brought into the organization, right? And so it just trickles down. And then you see all of these folks having a great time in a great destination, and there's nothing better to see that, because these are things that typical people don't get to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I know also, typically, and especially the way these are designed here at MannaTech, and kudos to you and your team for doing it this way. When someone makes a decision to go on the incentive trip, they're bringing in new people, having them do the same, which is great duplication. Then they're also ranking up in their business. And I know part of MannaFest has been, we've experienced so much recognition at this event that seems to go hand in hand. And by the way, you have a great hand in the recognition that happens here at MannaTech too.
Sure. And I know you guys just witnessed a night of recognition. And that's one of my favorite parts of MannaFest, because we get to reward and honor those folks that have done extraordinary things. And for the most part, it's because of leaders, right? It's because their leaders help them to get there. They coach them. They share their knowledge. They duplicate. They try to duplicate their efforts and share a pathway, again, to rank up to the next level. And so recognition is also another kind of a reward or an outcome of duplication.
Yeah, and it creates momentum. And Patty, I'll tell you what, you guys have teed this up perfectly, because we're wrapping up MannaFest here very soon, but there is plenty of time to rank up, and there's still plenty of time to go on this next incentive. So thank you from all of us in the field that have ever been in the field. Thank you for putting together such a great path that really it sort of fosters an environment of duplication and success. So thank you so much. And thank you for sharing some time with us here in the duplication segment.
Thank you, Tim. Bye, everyone.
I am with the MannaTech CEO and President, Mr. Bala. Bala, you have had more than 40 years of experience in our space, in this industry. I remember meeting you almost a couple of decades ago and learned so much from you, continue to do so. And you've been such a great mentor to me in business and in life. And based on all the experience you've had in our space, in this industry, you've seen and worked with leaders from every market, probably every continent practically, all over the world. And you've seen these amazing businesses and legacies that they've been able to create because of our industry, especially here at MannaTech. One of the themes that we have focused on, certainly for this year, but certainly also for MannaFest, has been this concept of duplication. When you think about so many of the great leaders that you've worked with, and you think about your career as well and what you've seen and experienced due to this industry, what things have you seen that leaders do or duplicate and teach and have that duplication occur? What type of things have you seen that have led to all these amazing success stories that everyone at MannaTech wants to experience?
Well, thank you, Tim. It's definitely been a pleasure to have known you for almost 2 decades.
Yes.
Oh, that makes us a little bit old.
And it's not over yet. We still know each other.
Oh, we still, yeah, you bet. We're still here. We're still doing it. But it's a great question. And I think it's $1 million question. What creates massive duplication? What creates momentum? I just spent the whole time early yesterday talking about momentum and the things about momentum. But for me, those people who create massive businesses, it always starts with a burning desire.
Yeah.
Right? It always starts with they have to have a big dream. They have to have this amazing dissatisfaction with status quo that then propels them to do the things that your mentor used to call all-out massive action.
Yeah.
You got to have that vision. You got to have that big dream. You have to have that purpose, that reason. You have to have the big why. And basically, literally, anything works when you really want to. And that's kind of a beautiful secret to a good way to close this weekend, I think, is for people to realize that at the end of the day, anything works if you work it. There are some things that are going to work better and faster, but I have watched people in over 50 different countries achieve amazing success many different ways.
Yeah.
Some ways I think you and I would say, now that is kind of a silly way to do this. But if they have a big dream and they do it consistently, which I think as we discussed momentum is about taking action and it's about being consistent. But then all out massive action, especially today, with the technology that we have, what used to take us a month to do all out massive action, as you said it earlier, literally could take you a couple hours in one day to do the same amount of massive action without even leaving your house.
That's right.
That's amazing. That's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I mean, you've been in the industry as long as we've been, and we've seen what we've had to do to create some momentum. Today, people have 1,000 times that opportunity. But again, it's got to start with how badly do you want it? Right?
Yes, it does.
Now, obviously, there's other things that are more technical about massive duplication that I think you and I are working on, the whole company is working on, which is creating a simple story that is duplicatable, that, if we focus on the brand new person, because when you talk about duplication, me bringing you into business is not duplication. Duplication is when I bring you into business and I help you bring someone.
Yes.
And it's even better duplication when that someone brings someone, which is, by the way, something we're going to be measuring in the future, right? When we want to measure duplication, we're going to measure how many people are bringing somebody who brings somebody who brings somebody. Then you have duplication. So when you think about that concept, that process requires a little bit of technique. It requires a little bit of science. It requires that the story is right, the story is simple, that the offer is makes sense, is compelling. All those things can be worked on. We can definitely make this more effective, more efficient, but nothing will replace somebody's true desire to make something happen. So as we close this event, I hope that everyone, through the stories you heard, to the speakers you heard, that somehow inside of you, you said, that's it. I've decided the end of all other options. I have decided that I am getting this thing done. And they'll be amazed that that moment they decide and they back up that decision with a big why.
Yeah.
What's your why? What is your big why? What is the why that makes you cry? What is the why? I know that sounds so cliche, but at the end of the day, everybody is either whining and complaining and giving excuses. They want to know what to say. How do I say it? When do I say it? It's not the problem. The problem is, how badly do you want it?
Yeah.
How dissatisfied are you with the status quo? You know, a few weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago, I looked at a picture of myself in Ecuador, and I said, I will never look like that again.
I don't want to live like this anymore.
I don't want to live like this anymore. Enough is enough. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because folks, when you get there, you're going to find this is the most amazing era, right? Those of us who have been around over 20 years in this industry, the most amazing era to be part of in this industry at this time, in the wellness industry, in the home-based business, in e-commerce. All those forces of force multipliers are in play to give us the greatest opportunity to create massive action and momentum, eventually massive duplication that we've ever had. I really believe in the history of this industry, at least in the last 41 years that I've been involved with this industry. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that answers my question, but for me, it's very clear what I've seen in over 50 countries of the things that separate those who kind of want to and those that have to. And when you have to, done deal. Katie by the door. Let the dogs bark, the caravan moves on, hide behind the bushes and watch my smoke. That's what happens.
Absolutely. You know, Bala, I got to tell you something. For a time such as this in our industry, in our space, for a time such as this in MannaTech, it takes that burning desire, which sometimes has to be kindled and almost started by a vision. You are a great visionary for this industry, for this company, and for those of us that are going to go out there and make it happen with massive duplication. Thank you, CEO and President of MannaTech, Mr. Bala.
Thank you for being part of your team, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
So there you have it. Doing the work, being committed to doing the work yourself, but then showing your team the path to do the type of work that it takes to become a leader, and then doing it with them certainly creates duplication and momentum. And then, you know, as Patty talked about, going on an incentive trip, but then showing someone else the path to do the same, and then getting to experience that together. That's duplication. And my gosh, that creates amazing momentum. And the default of that, of course, is the rank ups that occur. So now there's recognition involved as a team, duplicating leader after leader. That creates momentum. And then, as Al talked about, with all the experience that he has as well, helping that new person helps another new person that helps another new person to do what it is that we get to do on a daily basis, which is introduce this amazing opportunity to others and help them take advantage of it. And then, of course, all of this driven by a burning desire. That can create amazing duplication, which leads to momentum. We here at MannaTech have a burning desire to help you achieve your goals to reach the top. And we're holding a space for you and visualizing it with you at your best, experiencing amazing, massive duplication and momentum. Back to you, Kevin.